We've spent 4 seasons in the St. Louis Cardinals franchise and have yet to win a playoff series, despite building a very strong team that has now won back-to-back division titles, 100 games in 2027. But we blew games 2 and 5 in the NLDS, and now the season is over. Where do we go from here? I'm still determined to build this team into a championship contender and winner. And now we look at a fresh offseason ahead of us. We have some key free agents, and I'm coming into this offseason already thinking, it might be time for some fresh starts on this team. Ryan Helsley, I don't think has been bad, but has given us some warning signs the last few years with these ballooned ERAs. That came down this most recent year, but 9 home runs in 58 innings. Had some missteps in the postseason as well. So, I like the team a lot, but I feel like I have to find ways to upgrade, and I have to keep in mind the age of some of these players. Like, Brendan Donovan has been one of my favorite players in the franchise, easily. But I worry. Next September, where are his ratings going to be after further regression? His speed already is beginning to make him more of a liability defensively. Against lefties this most recent season, he wasn't hitting great, and without being September Player of the Month, his season looks far different. He's been an exceptional player, but I don't know that re-signing him is even the best idea right now. Nolan Arenado has been our third baseman the entire time, but he couldn't hit in the postseason anymore. And I think that he's lost a lot of his ability there. The regular season was mostly good, and it's hard to make decisions based off of one playoff series. I think that's a dangerous game to play. And then you got Wilson Contreras, whose option is actually up. So this appears to be a mutual option. And if I want to pick it up, it's $17.5 million. That's pretty high. Can we handle that? Yes. But his regression has been concerning, and where is he going to be next October? Fielding's already down. He has a really good arm, but that has to get used so often because sometimes he can't block pitches in the dirt like he used to. It's risky to think about what's behind door number 2 at catcher unless there's, good free agents this season. But I've essentially come into this offseason willing to make some tough moves and move on from some guys. Maybe it's Helsley, maybe Brendan Donovan. And we have to find, where are we going to try to get upgrades this year? I think we need to stop messing around and find a solidified third outfielder. We have Luis Robert, Lars Nootbaar. These guys are awesome. But Victor Scott has not become that everyday outfielder, nor has Dylan Carlson. And I've given him so many chances, including a return this year after developing a bit out in Seattle. And he still hasn't taken a leap as a player. We have good prospects as well. I think I have to be willing to pull off some trades potentially if free agency can't solve some of these issues. We have a window that's open right now, and a lot of these players don't fit in that window. So we're going to start off this offseason then. We have to basically rebuild the coaching staff. We had one coach retire, a bunch of contracts expire. So let's try to sign the best coaches that we can. I have offered to 5 of the best coaches that I can, including Dave Roberts as our farm director. I think he'd want to be a manager, but who knows? And then we got to make some decisions here. What are guys looking for? Ryan Helsley. This is a lot less than I had expected. For a 33-year-old closer, I thought this could come in the double-digit range. So I think I'm willing to bring back Helsley, but not really guarantee that closing role as much. I think that he's shown to be a little shaky there recently. I almost wonder if we want to see who's available in free agency, but I'd have to think we could find a spot for him regardless. So I think I'm going to offer about $5.2 million right now and see where this goes. For Brendan Donovan, he is looking in the $10+ million range. And if you go multi-year, that balloons to about 14. And I just don't know if this is the right move. We have our new on-base guy is shortstop Geraldo Perdomo. Donovan's still, very reliable, but The lefty thing is concerning. The speed is concerning. His power has been on the decline. And I have to make these decisions with a little bit of foresight to think about where we're going to be after another year trying to win in postseason games. Arenado, longtime third baseman, wants $10 million a year. And just by the end of the year, man, I had no confidence in his offense, especially against lefties. His defense is still really good, so if we lose him, I really want to bring in a good defensive third baseman. And I have struggled to find that guy the first 4 years. I have attempted. I did sign or draft Julian Welsh in the first round, but he's nowhere close to stepping into Arenado's shoes. Donald Galvin only is 76. He would kind of be a last resort there with who we have. Unfortunately, first baseman Jordan Walker, I don't think would hold up great at third with these ratings. I wish it would work because then that would open the door for Marino to play first base, but I just don't think that this would be the best idea. Maybe by the end of the year it gets stronger, but that could be really risky with this team. Gorman could play third base, just not that great. Donovan, that's a secondary position. I've talked about his offensive concerns. Mason Wynn doesn't play third, doesn't have the offense to maximize that position right now regardless. The one thing that's kind of intriguing, though, is if we consider Perdomo playing third base. His power is not typical of a third baseman at all. He's maxed out at 15 home runs in a year right now. But he has the defense to do it is all. So what I think we're going to do here is we're going to let Donovan test for the time being, Arenado test, and then I'm going to decline the option here on Wilson Contreras. 17.5 is a lot. I don't think that's going to be his free agent market, so we still have the chance to bring him back later. And as a matter of fact, I could offer now, and it's already down to more 11. So I kind of want to see who's going to be out there. His fielding has fallen, and I kind of want to be ahead of the curve a little bit if he further regresses after this most recent year. Carlson, Maton, they're going to test, and then Michael Kopech, he did have a good season. We do need, a low-leverage reliever, and this isn't too much money to ask for that role, so I'm going to offer to him and not Matt Moore. So right now, only 2 contracts have been offered. Dave Roberts is going to go to the Pirates to be their manager, so I kind of expected he'd want to be a manager still. Corbin Burns had an option. Okay, I forgot about that, but he's exercised it for $17 million. With the year he had, I'm surprised he didn't opt out and try to get even more. I think that would have been possible. We have 4 spots filled right now on the coaching staff and still 2 pending offers out there. Let's see how much money we have to work with this year. We'll renew these deals. All right, making sure all these deals have been offered. Not too bad there. And then for salary arbitration eligible players, here's last year's MVP, Nolan Gorman, 40 home runs plus 6 in the NLDS in a losing effort. We're never going to see a guy take over a series quite like that again. And it didn't work. We lost anyway. Gorman's going to get, a pretty good deal, it looks like, next year. Right now, looking at about 7. And I want to maintain our financial flexibility this year, so I'm not going to try to sign him early. I'm going to offer about $7.5 million. And then Jordan Walker, he still has 2 years of arbitration available. Really solid all-around player. Glad he's developed well in the series. He's looking for closer to about $6 million. Yenier Cano, really glad I made the move to bring him in. And there's even a chance I think he ends up being our closer this year. I'm not really guaranteeing anybody has that role right now, but we can kind of see how the season unfolds for our relievers. The bullpen was just so weird last season. I've been trusting them for a long time. There are so many good arms. There was just bad outing after bad outing in the postseason. And I don't want to overhaul it, but I do want to try adding on to it. For Joe Adell, I just don't see a path for him to make our bench or a starting role. And I'm just going to let him hit free agency. I have tried to make this work out, but I think the timetable has long since passed us. And then Ivan Herrera, our backup catcher, I really like him. And I've wanted to keep him around even as he approaches free agency. So that's going to leave us, I think, with a pretty good amount to potentially spend. We only have $36 million out in pending offers, and a lot of budget opened up with us, not signing back Donovan, Contreras, Arenado right now. So we got to see who is out there. And there's some big names here at the top. You got Adley Rutschman, Ozzie Albies. Tired of seeing him hit against us. Looks like a good year to need a top-of-the-rotation pitcher as well. There's Shane Bieber and Logan Gilbert. But Adley Rutschman's out there. You got him, William Contreras, Wilson Contreras, and then Cal Raleigh. So I thought Contreras was going to be under contract for next year. I didn't realize it was an option. But I think, with how much money we have available, we absolutely need to at least try to bring in Rutschman. One of the best catchers in the game, easily a 7-WAR player. Now, the qualifying offer was made. I am not concerned about that. We are trying to win a title right now. A second-round pick is not helping us anytime soon. But he would become the highest-paid player, basically replacing Arenado's salary if we did this, which makes it feel pretty manageable. So what big deals are coming up then? Corbin Burns, JoJo, and then Gorman, obviously, is one of the biggest that we have on the horizon. But as of right now, there aren't too many highly paid players. Only 4 north of $10 million a year at this time. That's a lot of money, but I think that is a move we need to look at making. Ozzie Albies is available. He can play second. He can play short. Man, he was good in that series. 34 home runs. Wow, these home run numbers are massive. And taking him away from Atlanta would feel really good. But he's another player getting, not quite the Rutschman offer, but $27.5 a year. We'll have to see how many of these big offers we can make, because I also see Brandon Marsh available. Really high contact, good power, 24 home runs a year ago, so not overwhelming power, but still really high slugging the last 3 seasons. 30 years old, good defense. Could definitely be a good fit for us. So there's Marsh, Steven Kwan. Kwan has really good defense, and one of the big differences between these players will be that Marsh, with that lower plate vision, probably a lot higher strikeout rate. That's sitting at 24% this most recent year, whereas Steven Kwan's going to be basically not striking out, unless I screw something up hitting with him, 14%, with a 135 ISO. Both are 30 years old. So that's 2 players we can consider. There's Tyler O'Neill, Brian De La Cruz. Leody Taveras, listed at center field, is here from the Rangers. Another really good defender. I'm just looking to solidify this spot and not worry about it anymore. Jose Siri is out there. A couple holes in his game, though. Contact and vision, both a little bit low. Kind of a boomer bust player there with home runs. Seiya Suzuki, another high contact, but lower power against lefties. Fielding is just okay, but a good arm. I think it comes down to Marsh and Kwan. So these are the highest plate vision scores on our team right now. And consider Padilla isn't even at the bigs. Welsh isn't at the bigs. We actually have a lot of lower plate vision players. Kwan's on base numbers, we have 333, 367, 344. But Brandon Marsh, near 400, 422, 389, with, a 500 slugging upside to his game. So he might strike out a bit more, but the offensive upside's really nice, and he has a little bit more range in the outfield with a really similar arm. It's the same strength either way. Kwan's a bit better defensively. I think I want to offer a deal here to Brandon Marsh right now. 30 years old. I'm going to go to 4 years with a player option. About $22 million a year, I think, is a really strong offer. And that's going to use up a lot of our budget. And we got to consider there's still, I want to upgrade outfield. What are we doing at third base? We got Isaac Paredes, and Arenado's the second highest rated option. Paredes doesn't really have the defense that I'm looking for. He has been a really good hitter. And then Arenado, I've kind of mentally already been thinking we're moving on. Offense is on the fall, basically cannot run, but there aren't a lot of options out here, and this is the spot where I felt like we might have to look at a potential trade. So if we look at third basemen that are out there, what do we got? So overall, this is definitely a position that has very few standout players now. Let's use the player search. Just third basemen that are at least an 80 overall. And here's the list. You got Rafael Devers halfway through a 10-year contract. Same true for Austin Riley. Royce Lewis with the Twins. And the Twins are a great team in this franchise. Jake Berger from the rival Brewers. Ke'Bryan Hayes, Alex Bregman, whose defense is really not great. Manny Machado, again, halfway through a 10-year contract. Jose Ramirez. It feels like there haven't been a lot of stars that have developed at this spot. I tried and failed. It seems like that's also true for very much of the league. Last year we made a trade with the Diamondbacks, right, to bring in Geraldo Perdomo. They have Tommy Troy at third base. De Los Santos here is only 24 years old. His defense looks solid. And he could definitely do some developing. And then at short, they have Bo Bichette and Brooks Lee. Lee has a little bit more developed offense, and I'm a Twins fan, so this catches my attention. Could Brooks Lee be an option then at third? What would that cost us in a potential trade? That's not unreasonable. Welsh is our most recent first-round pick. Sullivan, just, he's a 4A player probably. So I'm considering now who else is out there that could potentially play third. Bryson Stott is available in free agency, but a 90, so probably another $20 million a year player. And his arm is, not the best, but I think he could definitely hold up at third. Then you've got, I don't think Jackson Holiday is someone the Orioles really want to move. And I'm still trying to keep trades, reasonable. Like the Twins got Royce Lewis. They're a really good team. There's no reason for them to move off of him. At shortstop, Anthony Volpe with the Yankees. Kind of interesting here if they have some depth. But he's their top shortstop, so that doesn't really add up either. Lee is just really solid defensively, and I think there's still a chance he could develop a decent bit. He hasn't really shown a ton in this franchise. That is a really tricky spot to try and manage right now. I'm not making any decision quite yet. And then I'm seeing these pitchers available, but we have a good rotation. And if we have these two massive offers out there, it makes it tougher to do another massive one. I'd definitely be interested here in a one-year deal for Jeff Hoffman. I think I might have tried to sign him not even that long ago. He's coming off a good year, so we'd be talking about, $6 million a year potentially. I'll make an offer there. Oh, that's lower than, he just likes the Braves more. They're probably promising him a closing role. Oh, we got some good closers available. The Twins got Joan Duran, 32 over 4. Alexis Diaz, Camilo Doval, Andres Munoz. So Diaz doesn't have a multi-year offer. Coming off 1.88 ERA. Very dominant. It's hard for these relievers to even get over a 1 WAR in many cases, but they just couldn't homer off of him this year, and he has extremely high strikeouts. I'm going to put an offer out there. $8 million. I'm going to offer 9. I don't know if it's going to be the closing role. I can't really promise it to anybody. But I think I need to start simulating and see if some of these decisions get made. And I haven't put an offer out on Donovan. Am I really prepared to potentially move off of him? He's been, again, one of my favorite players, one of the most reliable players, but I'm worried about regression. What if I signed him back to play third base? I played him at third base for a while last year. Doesn't have the power profile you want there, but I think we have enough in our lineup to still put together quite a bit of offense. All right, I'm going to put maybe a one-year offer out here on Donovan. Because I do think I'm more intrigued with him this year than Brooks Lee. But that would be, basically all of the budget right now. With Rutschman, Marsh, Diaz, Helsley, Donovan, Hoffman, Kopech. Probably losing here on Hoffman. I'm just going to withdraw that offer. And I'm still trying to fill out our coaching staff as well at the same time. Wow, Adley Rutschman turned us down. Alek Manoah goes to the Mariners, and the Braves have signed Adley. They put an extra year on the deal at $39 million a year, a $40 million catcher essentially. Who's out there now? They're still trying to bring back Albies. Man, now you got Wilson Contreras, but also William Contreras. Could we potentially look to switch Contreras brothers at catcher? 530 slugging last year, 23 home runs. He's 4 or 5 years younger. 6.6 WAR. Getting lowballed right now by the whole league. So now we wouldn't be talking about mid-30s for Adley. We'd go to 20 for Contreras. And everybody seems to be lowballing him. I wonder, I'll throw in a player option. I can probably reduce the salary a little bit. That's a really strong offer. We're still leading for Brandon Marsh, offering more money and less years. So the Angels are being kind of weird. And then, multi-year versus the 1 year on Diaz. I don't know how that's going to look in their algorithm they used to evaluate. And then Kopech, I'm going to have to increase this. So I did not see that Braves offer on Adley, but that to me would have been too much. I think going to $40 million on a catcher for that long would have probably been past my breaking point there. That's a big trade. The Guardians just got Ryan Jeffers from the Twins. They gave up Julius McCann to do it. That's a big one. We were able to bring back Michael Kopech after he put together his best season as a Cardinal. We now have our full coaching staff. So here's what we've got. On some of these positions, I had to go to my third or fourth option, but I did get the hitting coach I really wanted in Carl Willis. The pitching coach is solid, but he was my second choice. Brian Woodson's going to help out fielding, durability, and speed. J.J. Gardner, speed, steal, arm accuracy, durability is a good one. And then Chris Feliz, 1 clutch, 1 accuracy. The farm director was the toughest spot to fill. Free agency, moving at a snail's pace still. We have to set our 40-man roster. Could lose Michael McGreevy. I think we have plenty of room here on the 40-man roster. Camilo Doval signs with the Yankees on a 5-year contract. The Twins bring in starting pitcher Nick Lodolo on a 4-year, $66 million deal. And the Cardinals have made their first big splash in signing Brandon Marsh. This hopefully will end, this revolving door and the questions then in the outfield. We have 3 really good players, Robert, Nootbaar, and Marsh. They all have really good defensive ability, and then we can still have Victor Scott come off the bench and provide either defense or base stealing upside. It looks like we also brought back Brendan Donovan. He did sign that 1-year deal. There is a chance I just play him at third base to start the year and see how that unfolds. I was open to the idea of moving on, and it would have been easier if the third base options out there were more definitive upgrades. Like, if I could have done a Brandon Marsh caliber signing at third, I don't know if Donovan would have returned. But what this could do, if Donovan were to play third, then you consider maybe Gorman even plays second base or win, but it might be the path to getting Daryl Moreno more at-bats. We know Moreno is someone I'm trying to turn into a game changer, but he can only play first or DH. Gorman is not going to be a plus defender. That is the one big concern there. It'd be a lot more ideal to play Wynn there, who did take a huge leap last season. Maybe AAA Player of the Year. And maybe it's Wynn versus Moreno. That's kind of that battle for increased playing time. So I got more money available, and Jeff Hoffman is still dragging this out. I feel like I could make a larger offer now. So 1 year, and let's just go to $7 million to top Atlanta and Kansas City. We still have the offer out then at catcher. Looking to bring in William Contreras. Teams are still, nowhere near us. I think I could even, I'm interested in offering him maybe 90 then. Still make it a player option, but it's easily the best offer. Oh, I offered the wrong guy 90 million. I knew I screwed something up. Okay, yeah, it had him disappear from that list because I took the offer away. That's my bad. What I'd actually like to offer is more of a 2-year deal for Alexis Diaz. You know what? Maybe I do promise the closing role. He had 46 saves last year. One of the best closers in all of baseball. And then I'm going to offer 85 over 4 to William Contreras. You had your chance to take the larger deal. And William Contreras has signed. We go from Wilson to William. That's going to be one of the funniest things I think about this season. But it was a good time to maybe look at moving off of Wilson Contreras with the option lining up. And we certainly, bring in a really good catcher for nearly half the money that the Braves are going to pay Adley Rutschman. Leody Taveras to the White Sox. And now we're just kind of focused on relievers. And Alexis Diaz signs with the Cards. Andres Munoz to the Marlins. Yandy Diaz to the Jays. So we've certainly made some moves today. We add Marsh, William Contreras, Alexis Diaz. It's only a 26-man roster. That is over 10% of the team that changed with pretty significant players. Oh, and we got Jeff Hoffman. So the bullpen, undoubtedly stronger. All right? Take your pick of Cano, Hoffman, Helsley, and then Alexis Diaz. And Mason Miller and JoJo. Like, what more can I do there? This gives us a really strong 9-man bullpen. Obviously, we only want 7 or 8, so Crawford might end up being the odd man out. Or we look at a potential trade of some sort. But I'm just throwing talent at a problem. We'll worry about the rest later. At this point, I would say, okay, Brendan Donovan, you are now a full-time third baseman. So we make that move. I got him experience there last season. So I can even storytell my way into believing that one. And I'm okay with that move. There's less unknown than bringing in a guy like Brooks Lee or something. And the option's always there to trade. $17 million available. That's a good amount to have for filling out the roster, responding to an injury, and having options then at the deadline. 26-man roster right now. I think we have our team right now. Brandon Marsh has 84 arm strength, 59 accuracy, while Nootbaar has 76 arm strength and 80 accuracy. I think I want Marsh in left, but I think either option there could make some sense. Just kind of creating a mock lineup here. Don't worry too much about the positions. But if we put either Wynn or Moreno in there, let's just put Daryl Moreno. So now it's 4 full-time lefties and then a switch hitter. So pretty even. And Gorman, are we worried about him against lefties? I don't think so. Nootbaar has hit lefties mostly fine. Marsh should do well there as well. And Donovan's going to draw a walk anyway. Who cares? I love to see Ozzie Albies go to the Yankees. I am actually cheering for the evil empire right here to remove a star from the Braves. I don't like the Braves. We don't like the Braves on this channel right now after last offseason. Logan Gilbert, Bryson Stott still out there. But I feel like we're probably set. And the Blue Jays have acquired Kyle Wright. Mackenzie Gore goes to the Oakland Athletics. Jose Urquidy to the Guardians. And it's the draft lottery. Go Rockies. Yes. How are the Yankees picking second, dude? 1.4% chance of picking number 1. They end up picking number 2. Wow. We're picking 26. No one cares about our draft right now. Rule 5, we're not going to be drafting anybody. But do we lose anybody? We have Won Bin Cho, a 71 overall, who is available. I wasn't willing to put him on the 40-man because I don't think he's a starting caliber player. MJ Melendez. I like him because he can play outfield and catcher. That's a unique combination. I'm going to draft him. He has an option available. All I have to do is be willing to put him on the 40-man. I'm sure I can create room for MJ Melendez. I'm a big fan of his in these games. So it would appear that I forgot about the rule where you have to keep that player on the active roster regardless. So we'll see what happens with MJ. Maybe he'll end up going back to the Royals. And that might be the end of the draft then. As we didn't end up losing anybody, but taking MJ Melendez. Why did so many teams pass on that? Luis Castillo's on the move, going to the Cubs. That's a move that affects us. Thanks, Seattle, for that. The Yankees get Stott. No, I said sign Albies. It's the wrong second baseman, guys. The A's get Cal Raleigh. I'm waiting for Albies returns to the Braves. Alex Lang to the Giants. What? Wait a minute. What? The Twins acquire Bryce Harper for 75 overall Colby Allard? Is that a salary dump? I don't understand. Confused doesn't even begin to describe how I feel right now. Ranger Suarez on the move. Okay, I like Suarez. Sometimes you face a player and they dominate you so bad, you just respect them. That was my experience playing Pokemon Emerald back in the day. I ran into a trainer with a Milotic. I'm like, what is this sea serpent looking thing that just annihilated my party? Respected it ever since. Logan Gilbert to the Rangers. Joe Ryan. Why did you let him leave Minnesota? You guys are fools. But you had to make room for Bryce Harper's salary. I'm just curious about that situation. The Twins now have O'Neal Cruz, Andres Jimenez, Nick Lodolo. Bryce Harper, though. Sure, not the player he once was, but has he really declined that much? That salary's decent. And they did that for Colby Allard? Twins are winning the pennant next year. Book it. Oh, arbitration went with MJ Melendez, so I have to pay him $1.7 million, keep him on the 40-man. These terms are agreeable. I mean, Joe Adell was a more expensive player and also played in the outfield, but couldn't play catcher. Where is Ozzie Albies going? The Braves managed to keep Albies. They managed to bring in Adley Rutschman, who's going to make $50 million in 2033. They still have Ronald Acuna entering a contract season. They probably just, force their hand there. Won't be able to bring him back in most cases. I'm sick of this team. I don't want to see the Braves anymore. This is a happy day because I think that we had a good offseason. $15 million in budget when all is said and done. That's a good amount to set aside, like I said, for the future with the potential trade deadline. We are running back the rotation. Cortez last year of his contract. Actually, does he have 2? Oh, I guess. And then we got Lesko and Hentz. We're hoping Hentz can bounce back. I didn't do anything here with the starting rotation after having, Rookie of the Year Lesko, and I'm counting on Hentz to bounce back. Here's what's going to happen. Either Hentz bounces back or Benny Matsumoto is coming. I think he needs some development still. Like, I don't think Matsumoto's ready once he clears Hentz's overall, but once he's like a 78, 79, I feel like his skills will be in the spot where it's like, all right, where is the spot for this guy? And to me, timeline-wise, it was always whenever Cortez is done. But if Hentz doesn't improve after last year, then we're pushing for his role. Because he was Rookie of the Year in 26. Last season, not that guy. The Diamondbacks have signed Nolan Arenado to do what? Mentor Tommy Troy? Who's going to play? They have like the same overall. Do you want to give us Tommy Troy? Oh, Troy hasn't played that well. Hard to develop when you're hitting 214. And I just wanted to add this in here. Look where Wilson Contreras ended up. We will be seeing him again. So how does this look to everybody? We make a few specific changes that are undoubtedly upgrades. Brandon Marsh in the outfield closes a revolving door. I don't know if those close. William Contreras then at catcher, 89 overall. What this does for us especially is fight back against the unknown of regression. If Wilson Contreras were to come out, hit 230, his ratings could easily tank, and then it's like, well, now this catching spot is a concern. With William Contreras, we avoid that. But his brother has a better arm. So the spot for me to watch out for going into this season is who proves to be more valuable. Is it Mason Wynn or Daryl Moreno? Because between Moreno, Wynn, and Gorman, you're going to play 2. And Gorman's always going to be one of them. So it just comes down to, does Gorman DH or Moreno? Can Donovan hold up at third base? Will regression hit him? I was concerned about that. But I think the defense is good, and he'll keep drawing a bunch of walks. With Brandon Marsh, you hope that there's enough power there. He had 24 home runs last year. That was a career high. But even without being a high home run hitter, he's a really high slugging player, so there should still be a number of doubles and triples out there. Even if he's not hitting home runs, he should provide a lot of outfield hitting value, which gives us one of the best offensive outfields we could have dreamed of. MJ Melendez, I don't know if he'll be on the big league roster right away. There is a possibility he could be the backup catcher over Ivan Herrera. But the baseball content is not ready to go quite yet. We have so much unfinished business. And if something pops up with an injury or a struggling player, I am willing to look at our top prospects and make moves. I still think Matsumoto's the guy. I really don't want to move, but pretty much anybody else in the right deal is available. What do you think of the team going into the next season? Let me know down below. And next time we look to start the year and hopefully get off to a really nice fast start, find a good pace to this. I know that we don't want to spend too much more time in the regular season, but I have been able to find some new ways of doing these episodes that have been really enjoyable for myself, and we'll just see how things unfold. But I came into this offseason with some goals, and I feel like they have been achieved. This team is better in my eyes, and I can't wait to see what this next season brings to us. It is not easy to win in the playoffs here in the NL, and I hope we finally have enough to get it done. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'm back again soon with more Cards franchise. Have a great day, everybody. See you next time.